The American astrophysicist was hit out at the BBC, Neil deGrasse Tyson, slamming the false equivalence. Listen in to his response when he was asked about this.
Mr. Tyson, on a serious note, how does this really change India's position on the high table in the world? You know, many people even today think India is a poor country. It's a land of elephants and snake charmers all over. That's sometimes you know, the imagery that India does draw. Today, with the Chandrayaan-3 landing on the dark side of the moon, and the fact that India's Chandrayaan is successful, where Russia's moon mission hasn't been, does that really change the perception of India in the world today?
So the elephants and snake charmers, that's interesting. That's an aspect of what we learn about India, of course. But in modern times, there's the subset of the Indian population who have risen in the scientific and technological world that have borne their brilliance in the rest of what's going on in the world. There's no shortage of Indians in the United States who are leaders in our tech world. So I think in recent decades, no, Americans were not thinking of India as a place of snake charmers. No. Maybe 50 years ago, not today. All right. Some of our highest tech people have Indian roots. They may be American citizens, but they came from India. Okay. And they're latter day American citizens. So we know the potential of the Indian population here in the United States. That's my first point. Second is about the poverty. Yes, surely you have people there saying, why are we spending money up in space when we have such abject poverty here on Earth? That's a legitimate question to ask. But allow me to say that India had poverty before anyone spent a dime on space. Okay, so you can't look at space and say that's why you have poverty, or you shouldn't have poverty because you have space. Those are false equivalencies. What I can tell you is, if there's any hope of raising a nation out of poverty, it's investments in science and technology.
Absolutely. Every
place in the world where that has happened, the economy of that nation has risen, and the base level of who you call poor has risen, so India has a long way to go in that department. Yes, but I know of no greater force than ambitions in space that can operate on the economy of a nation, because tomorrow's economies will pivot on innovations in science and technology today.